What was going through your head whenever you pitched the idea of a $9 version of Skool after building a big business around a $99 subscription?
Yeah, so it was quite interesting. Like, first of all, when we looked at like why people cancelled or why people just didn't convert in their trials or something, the main reason was it's too expensive, right? It was pretty obvious. Plus, if we were really trying to target hobbyists like beekeepers and people that were into bird watching and things, like $99 is a lot. And so who it wasn't a lot for were people that were making a lot of money. So it was kind of obvious that if we wanted to help 1 billion people find community, and if we cared about the hobbies and the passions that people had, we had to have a lower price, basically. And then the other thing that was interesting about $99 was that I actually saw some communities that started around a passion, like Dr. Seuss or heavy metal or something, right? And then I tracked them over some time, and then they cancelled it because it was too expensive, and they started a community about how to make money. And it kind of makes sense, because if you're charging people $99 a month and they're doing their hobby on it, but it isn't making the money, they're constantly thinking, I need to make money.
And a lot of them fell in love with the platform and the community around it. And so in order for them to keep playing the game, they were like, oh, well, I have to find a way to pay for it.
It was so obvious. Like, if we make it cheaper, then more people can use it, and it won't put this pressure on them to make money. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it sounds like for people who aren't the CEO, it sounds like, oh yeah, we just added like a $9 plan. But like, you have spent 5 years building a business. You put a lot of your own money into it. You put your passion and your soul into it. You finally start to get it cranking. It starts to work. People start, you get closer and closer and closer to this like big vision and mission of helping 1 billion people find their community. What was it like to pitch the team, hey, we're gonna like release a version of this successful business for 11 times cheaper than its existing price?
Well, I mean, I knew it was the right thing to do, but Skool's a company, like there's a team. So I pitched it to the leadership team, and they were all very nervous. They were like, oh, we don't have enough money. Like, it's, because there's a real cost to running Skool, right? And that's a very scary thing to do. So everyone was scared, basically.
And you take the bet, and it works.
Well, between when I think I had that conversation with the team in November last year, mm-hmm. and we didn't launch $9 plan till July. Mm-hmm. So what is that? There's like 8-9 months or something. Mm-hmm. It's almost a year.
Yeah.
So it's not like that we had that conversation and then there was the mm-hmm. plan. There was the $9 plan. There was a lot of thinking and a lot of math and a lot of preparation in order to do it. Yeah.
And then at the same time, you have this phrase where you're like, what is it? The best
for the most, for the least.
So the best for the most, for the least is what you want Skool, the product, to offer. Mm-hmm. And so at the same time you decide to launch a price that's 11 times cheaper, you also roll out these massive features like native video, live streaming, like that other massive businesses struggle to make profitable for their own like thing at that price, Yeah. What was that like?
Yeah, I think I felt like it was the right thing to do. But, numbers and math is unforgiving, right? So I also had to check all kinds of things, right? Like,
sure.
How much will it cost? And the technology hadn't been at the place where it needed to be before. It was actually impossible to do that before and not lose a shitload of money. But some interesting other things had kind of come into alignment around that same time. And so I'd been researching like live streaming and native video hosting for years. Like honestly, I'd been tracking it for more than 5 years. Because even when you're running an info course business, you also know about bandwidth and storage and video hosting, because you suck up a lot of that when you're hosting content.
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money.
Yeah. So I was very well aware of it. Same with live streaming, right? And then there's like payment processing and everything. So like all these things kind of came into alignment where I figured out technically how I thought we could do it and could create some projections and everything for it. And so like at least it didn't seem too crazy, but there was still a lot of risk, because your projections are guesses, right? And so you guess like this many people are going to downgrade, and then this many people might choose 99, this many people might choose 9, and people might use this much video bandwidth and this much live streaming, and this insane amount of math and projections. And so you go through that, of course, because otherwise it would just be totally reckless. And then you need to do a lot of tricks too, technically, to even have a chance.
Yeah.
And then once you get through all of that, it's still like a big risk. Like everyone's very scared. And basically a lot of people just told me, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. One investor tried to convince me for 5 hours not to do it. So like...
Do you want some more water?
Oh, it's actually coffee.
Okay.
I got my last sip. Yeah, and then they were terrified. And I even think I woke up with like a night terror.
Yeah.
The night before we did it. But I was like, I blamed it on everyone else. I was like, you guys are worrying so much, you're making me worry. I wasn't even that worried before, but you guys are making me freak out. It was definitely, everyone was definitely super scared. But there was a feeling that it was the right thing to do. And then I had done like almost a year of math.
Sure.
So like,
sure.
It wasn't totally reckless, but still a risk. Yeah.
I think the reason why I'm like so interested in that moment is because just like Facebook had a decision that should we charge for it or should we make it free, I feel like this was such a crossroad moment for Skool, because it's like, not only did you release a $9 plan, not only did you add all these features, but what other companies historically would have done is they would have charged more for these features. But because you had this best for the most for the least, you're like, we're not going to gatekeep these big expensive features.
Yeah.
Like that's the real magic trick. It's like, we're going to let people on the $9 plan access like all of this.
Yeah, I joked with the team that the strategy for this year was unlimited expensive things for 90% off. Which sounds like a terrible idea.
So, but why? Because I think like...
Well, I thought it was funny.
For the memes.
Well, I liked phrasing it like that because it sounded like a terrible idea.
Right.
And it does look like, on the surface, like an absolutely terrible idea. But I did spend almost a year looking into it.
But I think there's a really interesting mindset thing there for anyone who's running their own community, anyone who's running their own business, where there is still this fear of, I don't want to over-deliver too much value. Whereas you took the complete opposite approach. And I want to know, like, why?
Well, I think if you're trying to survive, this is not a good strategy. And I think a lot of people are just trying to survive, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So I don't think people running their own businesses should just give unlimited expenses for 90% off. Because, if you're trying to survive, it's a different story. But like, Skool has resources so that like we can take risks, first of all, which a lot of people don't have, right?
Sure.
And also, I just kind of believe that if you make something really good, that more people will come, and people can kind of tell that the platform they're using isn't trying to just screw them. And I was banking on that bringing more people.
Yeah.
So that really, it's also kind of a growth strategy in a way, like, and also almost like a brand positioning strategy. It's a, plus Skool has network effects, which changes, this is very complicated. This isn't as simple as like if other businesses did this, this would work, basically. Sure. But it was a big risk, and everyone was terrified, but it wasn't as bad as people thought.